In Canada's housing market, condos are the weakest link. The steepest drop in sales and prices have been in Toronto. The trends in Vancouver are troubling too. Here's why.
So this is one of my listings. We've had this one on the market for just under 3 months.
Toronto real estate agent Sean Miller says new listings are piling up on the condo market. Units that once would have sold in days can now take weeks.
We've got 7 months of inventory, which is insane. And we just don't have the buyers to absorb it. We haven't seen that much inventory in 20 years.
With so many properties to choose from, buyers are looking for deals, and sellers can no longer demand the hefty prices of a few years ago.
If you're a seller and you don't have something that's amazing, it's tricky and you've got to be realistic.
A record wave of newly built condos is also adding to supply. Nearly 30,000 units were completed last year in the Greater Toronto Area alone, and there are more coming online in 2025.
What we're seeing now with all of this supply coming to completion is actually a reflection of demand conditions that existed 2 or 3 years ago. And that doesn't exist anymore.
Bank of Montreal senior economist Robert Kavchik says the downturn is concentrated in the largest cities. Condo sales in April tumbled 30% in the Toronto region from a year ago and 20% in Vancouver.
We haven't seen sales volumes running this low again since probably the 1990s. We're pretty much at a recession in the condo market.
The condo market is being described as a buyer's market. The problem is there are few buyers to be found. From investors to homeowners, demand is disappearing. For years, investors have been some of the biggest buyers of pre-construction condos, knowing there was a steady stream of renters in the pipeline. Not anymore.
Federal policymakers have put a cap on immigration. Population growth is falling off very quickly. You have a historically high number of purpose-built rental units.
Now rents are coming down in many cities. The average rent of a one-bedroom condo in Toronto fell almost 6% in April from a year ago, and Vancouver fell more than 4%. Add on a much higher interest rate environment, and the cost of carrying the property as a rental is less appealing.
The investors are basically gone from the market right now because rather than expectations of price increases, they have to look at things like cash flow. And at these prices, it just doesn't make sense at 4% borrowing costs.
Thousands of buyers are also scrambling, facing steep losses, as their pre-sale condos purchased a few years ago are worth less than their original value.
There's projects in downtown Vancouver, pre-sold for $2,500 plus a square foot, and appraisals are coming in at $1,900. There's gonna be like a cohort of investors that are gonna be scarred for a long time. They're gonna say, you know what, I'm never buying an investment condo again.
Vancouver realtor Steve Suretsky says that's essentially freezing the pre-construction market. Developers need to sell most of their units before they can put shovels in the ground.
There's no market for them, and they're having to make difficult decisions of either converting and pivoting to rental or just completely shelving the project completely.
This one is listed at $800,000.
Home buyers, people looking for condos to actually live in, could fill that gap in demand, but many are still unimpressed with the prices and sizes available. At an average of 650 square feet, Toronto condos have been described as shoeboxes.
And what we demographically need is larger units with 2 or 3 bedrooms, and in a lot of cases, backyards.
And there's been one other wild card that's put a chill on housing.
Reciprocal tariffs.
25% tariffs.
It's a beautiful word.
Amid the trade war with the U.S., unemployment in Canada is on the rise, and consumer confidence is shaky, forcing many buyers to put major purchases on hold.
A small interest rate reduction in June could make things improve a little bit for a period of time, but then, something else could change that sentiment. We're just in this time of uncertainty right now where we just got to ride it out.
That combination of soaring supply and declining demand is putting pressure on prices. Experts say the market has shifted significantly over the past few months, and the downturn is far from over. The average price of a condo in the Greater Toronto Area came in at about $678,000 in April. That's down 16% from the market peak 3 years ago and $130,000 cheaper. In Vancouver, a typical condo is now priced at more than $762,000. That's 9% lower than in 2022.
Affordability has improved modestly, but it's still very unaffordable to the vast majority of people living here.
Economists forecast in some markets, condo prices will fall another 10% this year. That would erase most of the gains seen during the pandemic. A stark reminder that rising prices in real estate aren't always guaranteed.